I'm going to investigate the 4 restaurants New York locals hate the most to see if they're really that bad.
I'm judging each restaurant on the food compared to other similar NYC restaurants and the accuracy of the bad reviews. If the restaurant fails in either one, then it's a tourist trap.
Starting with reviews for Ellen's Stardust Diner. Avoid, avoid, avoid. Queued over an hour. The place is gross. Sticky floors and dirty tables. Staff are rude to the point of offensive. Food was average at best, and just because the diner is on Broadway, don't expect Broadway singers. They come around with a bucket asking for donations for singing lessons. Let's see how badly they need singing coaches. First positive sign, there is no line here, no queue. Thankfully, because my jaw is about to freeze off.
I walked in and felt out of place, and this is why.
We just walked in on this, look at this. That our waiter?
Hi everyone who just sat down over there. I'll give you guys some waters in like 4 minutes.
First test is to see how sticky the floor is.
Let's see how sticky the floors are with this napkin drop test.
It's clean. So far, so good.
Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm Bo, I'll be your server today.
Hi, Bo.
Here.
Bo was super friendly, but more importantly, let's see how well he can sing.
It's so hard to concentrate here. Someone else is singing now, wow. Our waiter hasn't sung yet though. I'm waiting for him. The menu for breakfast is like really creative.
We ordered the confetti and cinnamon roll pancakes, and honestly, under $20 for breakfast didn't seem too bad.
I feel like we finally got a chance to catch our breath. There's just been performances nonstop. But so far, these guys can sing. They can sing way better than me. That's our waiter. I'm rooting for him.
It's like an opera singer.
Say it loud, and there's music to say.
Forget singing lessons. The waiters here don't need more practice. They need a job on stage.
He should be giving me singing lessons. We got like the best singing waiter here.
The breakfast came out in about 15 minutes, and when it arrived, I felt like a kid again. But no way they can mess up cinnamon roll pancakes, right?
Not bad. Not the best pancake I've ever had. I think all the sugar is just gonna override my thoughts on this. It's like a Cinnabon you buy at the mall turned into a pancake. And then James, our camera guy, got confetti pancakes with fruity pebbles on top.
James kindly let me mooch off his breakfast for the sake of the video, but he did make me promise to only take 1 bite.
That is so sweet. That's like extra, extra, extra sugar. I'd stick with this cinnamon roll pancake between the two. I think the food we're gonna give a barely passing score to, like a C-. I do respect that the waiters here are all musical theater people and they're trying to get their big break on Broadway, and you look around and you see photos, I think, of all of them on the walls, or the successful actors. It's definitely a vibe in here.
This place is so different. One of the singing waiters even threw straws at me. You can't get that level of service anywhere else.
This place does not take itself too seriously. It's starting to grow on me a little bit. Confetti in my pancakes. We are just steps from Times Square. This fits the theme perfectly.
Like the review said, they did stop the show to ask for donations for the staff to take singing and dancing lessons. While they made it clear they weren't required,
My waiter killed it, so I had to throw some cash in.
Yes, it's touristy, but it is hard enough to be a waiter in New York without having to sing for a large audience. I thought the food was fine, considering the price is pretty normal for a midtown diner, and you get the performance on top of it, especially if you like musical theater and being entertained with your pancakes. I'm pleasantly surprised. So this is not a tourist trap in my opinion, even though you're surrounded by tourists, because you know what you're getting yourself into.
We survived walking 3 blocks in the freezing cold before getting to the most popular Italian restaurant in the world, Olive Garden. They've made more money than you probably realize. In 2023, Olive Garden made $5 billion. I ran into a few viewers right outside, and I knew I had to ask them an important question.
Did you eat at the Olive Garden? That's my question. No, they did not eat at the Olive Garden. I checked.
But I wonder what NYC actually thinks about eating here.
Guys, it is so cold to be reading reviews right now. The Alfredo made my mom cry. No words. The waiter was slow and didn't speak English. It smelled so bad. This is so weird. They attached this smiling photo afterward. Was the Alfredo so good that they just got confused about what happened? In this next review, somebody went on a lunch date at the Olive Garden, and I already know this is not gonna go well. They were given cheese-encrusted forks, which they kindly sent a picture of. We'll definitely need to check out the silverware to see if there's a problem with a dishwasher. I don't know. But let's get in there. It's freezing. This feels like we're going on a Michelin-star restaurant, going up the escalator.
Compared to Ellen's, Olive Garden just felt depressing. The restaurant wasn't very crowded at all, and I wondered what was keeping the tourists away.
We need to see, are the forks cheese-encrusted? They're probably seem clean container before, but I don't see cheese or food specs, so far so good.
The most popular thing at Olive Garden isn't what you think. It isn't the pasta or the olives. Okay, sorry for that. It's actually the salad and breadsticks, which have just arrived. It's been over 10 years since I've been to Olive Garden. This might even be the same breadstick I had back then. I've heard these last forever.
Growing up in New Jersey, I actually loved going to the Olive Garden. I'm ashamed because Jersey has such good Italian food. I just was really a fan of the salad and breadsticks. But see if my opinion will change after all this time. Look at this thing. A lot of salt and seasoning on it. I think it's just too salty, honestly. It just doesn't taste that fresh. Like it feels like it was microwaved recently. Let me try the salad. I swear you can go anywhere in the world and the Olive Garden salad tastes exactly the same to me. The dressing taste, there's nothing wrong with the vegetables, just I think it's a little bit heavy on the dressing. So it comes with a meal, can't complain too much.
3 minutes after the appetizers, the Alfredo pasta arrived. Remember, this made a grown woman cry, but also confused her enough to smile about it. I'm hoping my amnesia isn't as bad as that.
Have you ever had it where it just took up the whole plate?
Yeah.
They were afraid to say no. I will say, stop here. The grated cheese on top. You know what you're gonna get at the Olive Garden. There's a consistency here I will give them credit for. Grilled chicken on top, has some melted cheese. Chicken is definitely a bit chewy, edible, but chewy. It's just, they go so crazy with all the seasoning here. Like this is the most American Italian meal you could possibly have. Sitting next to this photo here is about as Italian of an experience as you're gonna get coming to the Olive Garden. Is that Naples, I think? No, it's probably Venice. Let me try some of the fettuccine. A little turn. Yeah, pasta's not good. No, pasta is not good. Like, this is beyond al dente at this point. I don't know how much more of this I want to eat. I understand the business model here. The food came quick, the server was friendly, but considering you're in New York City, I'll argue the best place in the world outside of Italy for Italian food, you could do a lot better. And I don't know if this is necessarily gonna make me cry, but I'm definitely not smiling eating it, so I think that review was more or less accurate. Maybe they were smiling because they left. I don't know.
I took the rest of the Alfredo to go, just in case I needed to remind myself why I'm making this video in the first place.
$74 for all that.
If you ever come to this Olive Garden, let me show you a little trick that will cheer you up if you have to eat a meal here. Sit here.
Fun fact, it's like $1,000 on New Year's Eve to come to the Olive Garden. They have a huge party here because if you sit in this seat, you can actually see the ball drop from here. Like, you literally have the perfect shot of the ball. See 2025 right there. Just a complete tourist trap. It's exactly what you would expect because, you know, why come all the way to New York and eat here when we have hundreds of better Italian food options? The food quality is just, it's just not a fun vibe in there. We will leave it at that.
Did I mention it was cold outside? So cold. I had to be the only one in Times Square. Well, except for them, some tourists,
And the naked cowboy, of course.
Here it is, the Hard Rock Cafe, the rock music themed restaurant you can find in every major city in the world. Seriously, they even have them in Japan, Argentina, and until recently, Russia.
With the wind chill right now, it feels like 13 degrees. That's Fahrenheit, okay? Celsius, that's like negative something. My Celsius needs work. Let's pull up some reviews. Food was okay. Server Melanie refused to leave the table without getting additional tip. And on top of everything else, I was trying to complete the survey and it was already completed. So the server was lonely and wouldn't leave you until you gave her an additional tip. So this sounds fun. Not only is the server gonna be hanging out with us, but is she gonna fill out the survey card as well? The worst food I have ever eat. I have had better of a roach coach at a construction site. What's a roach coach? Let's go. Oh, I've never been so happy to walk into a Hard Rock Cafe in my life. Oh.
All right, this place is kind of cool. Rock memorabilia everywhere. You could spend a few minutes walking around for sure.
I mean, you could see an outfit that Elton John once wore. You got Beyonce here in the corner, although I'd love to see her wear this in today's New York weather conditions.
I had my eye on one thing and one thing alone on the menu, and it was messy.
Sometimes in life, you just want to experience the taste of victory at least once, and Leo Messi, famous soccer player, can give you that. I think we're gonna go after the Messi burger, which has almost 1,500 calories and over 5,000 milligrams of sodium. Wow, that's a lot of salt. The American Heart Association recommends that you eat no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. And if Messi says it's good, it must be good. Surprisingly, this has been the most crowded restaurant so far. Even though it's like not peak tourist season, it's pretty busy. I cannot get the smell of that Olive Garden chicken Alfredo off of my shirt, by the way. It stays with you forever. Messy burger? Thank you. Experience the taste. Oh wow, a victory. That was kind of cool. Look at the photo and look at the burger. I don't know. I was imagining something like this high. We gotta show you what's in this thing. A double stack of beef with provolone cheese, sliced chorizo, caramelized red onion, signature spicy smoky sauce. I paid $2 extra for the egg. They are right about one thing. This is a messy burger. Dad joke, sorry, I'm a dad. I can do those now. I don't know if I'm loving the flavor or I want that salty, spicy flavor nonstop seeping through my veins. Normally when I say something is a flavor explosion, it's a compliment, but in this case, I don't know. It's a lot of meat too. It's like you biting through the chorizo and 2 patties. It's too much for me. It's just too much sauce, too much salt. I've tried a lot of good burgers in New York. I would not put this up there as one of the better New York burgers at all. Is it a roach coach though? The term roach coach was used to describe white and gray food trucks that frequented construction and other work sites during the 70s and 80s. Yeah, maybe I could see this being some food truck somewhere. I actually think that review in some ways is correct. I don't know what this was, but I ate it. Am I happy? Not really. Argentina wouldn't win the World Cup if he was eating this burger every day. And I don't know how long he would live if he was eating this burger every day. We just got the check and she didn't ask me for any tip. She just said whenever you're ready. So I don't think she's begging me for a tip. She's not hanging around. She can if she wants, but she's not. So with tip, it's gonna be approximately $30 for the messy experience you saw. International tipping guide in 9 languages. They encourage you to tip 18 to 20%. Big point of contention with many tourists about the tipping culture in the United States. It's a little passive aggressive, but I understand why they do it. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Take care. Happy with the service here. Can't knock the hustle. We were not given a survey, but right here it says, complete our guest satisfaction survey, get $5 off your next purchase of 20 or more, hardrocksurvey.com. So we'll see if it's pre-filled out on their website, okay? It doesn't look pre-filled to me. It's not pre-filled out. I think that was probably made up. Let me enter the code. Let me see what happens. Oh, here it is. That's a lot of numbers. Then I have to give them the date on the receipt, and I gotta enter the time. This is just too much work for $5, okay? All right, the Hard Rock Cafe. The reviews were a little off. I actually thought the waiter was fine. She didn't bother us at all, and the survey was, I think, completely made up. If I have a friend who is into music and they just want all this memorabilia and they're willing to put up with mediocre food, fine, go to the Hard Rock Cafe, but definitely a tourist trap.
With signs blowing over in the wind.
It's so windy, you've got signs that are literally falling over the place. No dumping garbage.
We had one final stop that locals avoid, and there it goes again.
We're at Junior's for New York's most famous cheesecake, although not everybody is a fan. This review is for the cheesecake only. We did not eat at the restaurant. We picked up a slice of strawberry and a slice of apple crumble cheesecake, $9.75 each, and the majority went in the trash. You didn't even eat at the restaurant, Jody, come on. The $10 slice of cheesecake I got was so dry that I couldn't finish it without multiple glasses of water. Sadly, this is another one of those iconic spots in NYC that is egotistically operating on fame. This cheesecake sounds like a choking hazard. I'm gonna need a lot of water nearby when I try it. Let's get in there. Should we sit outside to see if we can survive? No, it's better. Let's just go in.
Well, this place does have nice, warm, cozy vibes, and is like a museum for the Brooklyn Dodgers since the original Juniors opened in 1950 in downtown Brooklyn. It's got a cult-like following with tourists. I wonder how they feel about the Dodgers now.
The dessert portion of this menu is huge. There's at least, I think, a dozen different variations of their cheesecake. Their famous original, $9.25. I think that's one of the contentions about Juniors I've noticed, is that it's very popular with tourists, but it's also very expensive. They just have a huge diner menu in general. Probably be better off coming here for a burger than Hard Rock. I feel bad for Juniors. I just overheard the guy who was sitting at the table behind us, who ate about half a cheesecake, and he bolted. I don't know if that says anything about the cheesecake. I'm a little shaken.
If I'm gonna survive this dry cheesecake, apparently a lot of water is needed.
Can you have one more water if you get a chance? Of course. Thanks.
Just when all hope was lost, the diner dasher in question returned to pay his check. The universe was back in alignment.
So we've got just a ton of water ready for this dry cheesecake. We'll see how dry this is. I mean, it looks good. Passing the eye test. The important test is how it tastes. It's moist. It's not dry. I don't need 3 waters to finish it. So we will start with the good news. The not so good news is, I don't know for $10 if I can really justify the expense. I mean, I guess if you're walking near Broadway and you want to try an iconic chain, But to me, this just tastes like an ordinary cheesecake I could get at any diner. Not an insult, to me, it's just average.
My cameraman James got a pineapple cheesecake, and he again graciously allowed me to steal a singular bite to taste.
More interesting. I think the reviews were a bit extreme. They hated the cheesecake. I don't hate it. I think this spot is very much geared towards tourists, has a lot of name recognition. They ship all over the world. Vibes are on point, but the food, just standard diner fare at a little bit of an inflated cost. So to that point, I'm gonna have to lean and call this a tourist trap. Not a bad tourist trap, but a tourist trap. Now that we investigated the 4 restaurants New York locals hate the most, in this video, we visit 1-star tourist attractions to see if they're really that bad. Head here next.